Hello, I'm Sheila Gilby. Welcome to Travel Talk with Sheila and Friends, a podcast dedicated to exploring exciting travel destinations with friends, family, and members of the community, all here to share their most memorable travel experiences to fascinating places around the world. Stories of travel to all 7 continents: Africa, Asia, Antarctica, Australia, Europe, North America, and South America. We start each podcast discussing travel destinations and end each episode with travel tips for students and young adults. Travel Talk tips center on highly rated international degree and study abroad programs and attractive career options in the travel and tourism industry. Today, we are broadcasting from Montgomery County, Maryland, and I am joined by my sorority sister and friend, Karen Lawson, to look back on her memorable travel experiences to Europe, Africa, and recently Cuba. Welcome, Karen. Thank you for coming over from Baltimore. Let's start by telling us about yourself and your connections to Montgomery County.
Thank you. So my name is Karen McGill Lawson, and I currently live in Baltimore, as you said, but I did live in Montgomery County from 1975 to 1995, and then in Washington, D.C. from 1995 to 2017. So I'm often back in the DMV area.
Okay, good. I'm just about to say the DMV. Okay.
Right. And while I lived in Maryland, I was privileged to be part of the chartering of the Potomac Valley Alumni Chapter. And a year after we chartered it, we established a fund, which is a 501c3, and it's been wonderful to be able to raise money and support scholarships and community programs. I think to date, we've probably raised over $400,000 for scholarships and community programs.
That's wonderful, and the fact that you've been dedicated to that effort for so long, I mean, that's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a middle-class family, and I certainly appreciate what education can do for us in terms of your life.
Okay, so I know that you have done extensive travel both in the U.S. and abroad. Tell us about some of your travel experiences.
So, yeah, traveling has been a critical component of my life. It's something my husband also liked to do. He lived in Germany for 3 years and traveled everywhere he could drive and so forth. And I also had a job. I worked for the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, and there was some international travel involved with that, including travel in the United States. But when we participated, when I say we, I'm talking about the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, the UN Conference on Racism, Global Racism. We got to visit Chile, Switzerland, London. These were all preparatory meetings for this conference.
Okay.
And then the conference itself was held in Durban, South Africa.
Nice.
I know, it was very exciting. And a number of us went over before the conference and visited Cape Town, which I think most people have heard of Cape Town. Our experience, or how we described it was like being in Europe, in Africa, but Durban, and then we got to go to Johannesburg. So I felt we really got a sense of South Africa from that trip.
What was your most memorable trip, and what made it memorable?
My most recent trip was to Cuba in January. It was not a trip I had on my bucket list or I was planning, but Busboys and Poets organized this cultural trip. We were able to go because we were bringing support for the Cuban people. We brought school supplies and, common medicines, over-the-counter medicines and toiletries and so forth. And it was a fascinating trip. I had also just finished reading a book Cuba and American history, which was fascinating. I did not know before reading the book about the connection between Cuba and the U.S. going back centuries. It really was fascinating. And also learned a lot about the whole racial situation in Cuba and so forth, again, which I knew very little about. So it was a fascinating trip. I got to see the culture of Cuba, how important the arts are to Cubans.
I've seen many of the beautiful photos from your trip. Tell us about the Cuban culture that you experienced.
There was a jazz festival there while we were there, and the most exciting part was that they were unveiling a bust of Langston Hughes in their poetry garden. He had been very good friends with a famous Cuban poet whose bust was already there. And so, I don't know, it was just a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
That's interesting. So in some ways, the cultures are the same, the arts, but in other ways they're very different. Like, what were some of the differences that you noticed during that trip?
Well, one is that dance and music just seems to be central to everybody's life. I mean, we toured dance studios where there were just so many young people, boys and girls, who were part of the program, and the cost for them to attend was very low. So I guess that was one of the reasons why there was so much participation. And
well, let me ask you, is that because the government is funding it?
The government supports it, yeah. The government supports the arts and cultures to a high degree in Cuba. I mean, there's certainly some of that in the United States as well, but it's just a central part of Cuba. And I mean, there were little cafes that had like poetry carved into the tables and so forth. I don't know, the music, the culture, you can't walk down the street without listening to a band playing or so forth. I mean, a lot of that is people are trying to earn some money because with the blockade and so forth, life can be a struggle in Cuba. But the people are very inventive and they're truly survivors. So it was fascinating. And when I came back, a group of us met with staff in Senator Van Hollen's office to talk about our experience and share, you know. And Senator Van Hollen has been very supportive of trying to build the connection between Cuba and the U.S.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, what a great follow-up.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it felt like, you know, we could try to make a difference.
Right.
You know?
So while you were there, what was the atmosphere towards Americans? What did you sense?
Oh, it was very open and friendly and so forth. I mean, a lot of Cuban people speak English and so forth. People were very helpful. I mean, they have, I think they have ways of making money really targeted to Americans, like getting rides in the old cars, U.S. cars.
Those beautiful
from the
cars.
I don't even know how they keep them running. I really don't. But they're beautiful, and you know, you can get a ride around Havana in those cars and so forth, which I think most Americans who go to Cuba experience.
Okay. Well, I apologize for the rain. It happens sometimes. But as we wrap up, let me ask you this, because you've been to so many interesting places. Where next? Where do you want to go next?
You know, I'm in my 7th decade, soon to be my 8th. So, you know, I don't know. I've been thinking about when I was young, I drove across the country, kind of the southern route across and the northern route back. So I've been through, you know, like Wyoming and some of those northern states, but not to really visit. So, you know, I've often thought it would be nice to go to Montana. The outdoors attract me these days. You know, when I was younger, the museums, the cathedrals, and so forth. But being outside, being part of nature, seeing the differences in the natural settings of states in this country, I think I would really enjoy doing. And then recently I've been hearing a lot about Lisbon, Portugal. And
yes.
I've never been to Portugal. I've been to many European countries, but I've never been to Portugal. And my plus granddaughter just left for Lisbon. She's going to be teaching there for at least a year. So there might be a good opportunity to go visit her and see Lisbon, Portugal.
I can't wait to hear about that trip.
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you coming over, spending the time to talk about travel and your most memorable travel experiences. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Before we wrap things up, we always make time for Travel Talk with Young Adults, where we explore the world and provide resourceful information that could lead to a lifetime of professional travel opportunities. If you're a student, recent graduate, or young professional looking to expand your horizons and gain a truly global education, I've got a fantastic resource for you today. It's the U.S. News & World Report's Best Global Universities rankings. This ranking gives you insight into some of the best universities around the world, those outside of the United States. By exploring this list, you'll discover institutions that are making groundbreaking research and offering programs that can open up career paths on a global scale. Going abroad for your education is not just about the academic experience. It's about immersing yourself in different cultures, networking internationally, and gaining a competitive edge in the global job market. So take some time to check out the latest U.S. News & World Report's Best Global Universities rankings online. You'll find universities in Europe, Asia, Australia, and other parts of the world that are leading in fields like international relations, business, engineering, and more. If you've always dreamed of studying abroad, now's your chance to explore your options. Studying internationally not only embraces your education, but opens the door to global career opportunities that can take you anywhere in the world. We are at the end of this episode of Travel Talk with Sheila and Friends. If you missed an episode, catch up on demand at mymcmedia.org. A big thank you to our wonderful guests and incredible production team. But most of all, thank you for tuning in and being part of this journey. You can join the conversation and share your travel experiences by emailing us at sgotraveltalk@gmail.com. Until next time, goodbye, adios, ciao, and bon voyage.